Welcome back to Ultimate Combat Radio. Mike Stidham here talking a little mixed martial arts at the Ultimate Combat Training Center in Draper, right here off the freeway at 12101 South State Street. We got live boxing going on tonight, amateur boxing. Come on down. Tickets are only $10, and we got 22 fights.
Do the math.
You're getting in here for pretty cheap.
22 cents the fight.
This segment is brought to you by Tim Goodwin Chiropractic. Now, Tim is a longtime friend of the show. He's got an office over here on 12300 South in Draper. Tim, everybody was devastated by the news about GSP dropping out of the big show, and we're hoping maybe you could give us some insight as to what the heck happened. What might have happened over there?
You know, that's funny, but we just talked to Robertino, and he wasn't on crutches, so that changed my thought at the beginning.
A little suspicious, isn't it?
You know, because, you know, we look at the knee, it's a hinge joint, and real fast, you know, we think of the knee, if you take your two fists and you put them together, that's the knee. Between that knee, there's two pads called the meniscus, okay? I would bet, if I had to bet with GSP, I think he probably tore his meniscus a little bit. And the meniscus hurt. You don't need crutches. You can walk on that. Now, when you get a tear in that meniscus, there's not a lot they could do and go in there. They want to remove it. They can remove it sometimes, but a lot of people just let that thing heal up. Now, a lot of the ground and pound, when you got pressure straight down on that knee and you're twisting, that's a really good way to tear up that meniscus. Now, more of a football injury is stopping and going is you get those two main ligaments in there that hold the bottom bone, which is the tibia, hold it from moving forward. And that's called your ACL. Okay.
Right.
Now, if he would have tore his ACL, that would have been.
He would be on crutches.
He'd be on crutches. He would have been a long time. You know, doing
they're not
surgery,
even sure
right?
they're not even sure they saw him. Yeah. You know what I mean? That may not have been him.
Well, he was in a disguise.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, and so when looking at knee injuries, I think a lot of it has to do with you can't run through knee injuries. You got to really, again, it goes back to what are you doing if you know you have an injury. You got to ice it down. We got to get doing on the proteolytic enzymes to cut that inflammation down. A lot of guys, again, they jump on the ibuprofen, the over-counter medications, but I'm telling you guys, that's taking away some of the good stuff that you need. Proteolytic enzymes are the way to go to cut that inflammation.
So if it's a meniscus tear, is it something he could work through non-surgically, or he's going to have surgery?
Yeah, no, meniscus you can work through non-surgically. You know, I mean, you really can. Because
what about your ACL?
ACL, no, not in that sport, because ACL, you can't stop. You're going to have to get that repaired, and there's no way you're going to go around that. You know, he could have, you know, the inside ligament that holds the bone from moving left and right is called the meniscus. It's called the collateral ligament. He could have strained that a little bit. That's probably very popular in fighters, is straining that collateral ligament. I think the biggest thing with the fighters is that your quadriceps or the front muscles are way stronger than your hamstrings. You got to get a balance going on that, because once that quadricep is a lot stronger, because you're kicking, you're kneeing, you're doing so many different things with that quadricep muscle that are going to build. So you got to be really careful to balance that hamstring muscle out too.
What can people do preventatively then for these injuries to not have it happen to you?
Well, I think the biggest prevention is not overtraining, and I always said that about MMA. You know, we talked about Couture's place, and I think the reason why he has a medical staff there is because you've got to cannot overtrain. But now to prevent injuries, you got to balance that strength out. So in particular, I think focusing on your hamstrings and getting that hamstring strength and really working balance between the muscles. You should have about a 60-40 ratio, meaning 100% of the leg work, 60% come from the quad, 40% should be coming from that hamstring.
All right, well, good stuff. Once again, Tim Goodwin, always a lot of wisdom coming out of his mouth. Love to have you on the show. I want to thank Aztec Highway for bringing you the show tonight, as always. Come on down and see the boxing matches right here at the Ultimate Combat Training Center, 12101 South State Street. Otherwise, we'll talk to you next week on Ultimate Combat Radio.